Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to lesson 31, and today is Wednesday, October 14th. So yesterday we were writing our essay. We started with paragraph 1. Remember, it has to have a hook. And today we're going to go ahead and continue on to the next paragraph. So hopefully you already have paragraph 1 and 2. Some of you yesterday did amazing sharing your hooks with everybody, so thank you to everybody that shared. Some of you still need a little bit of help, so that's okay because today we're going to keep working on our essay. So the objective for today is students will be able to find and explain about a figurative great heart. Remember, yesterday we talked about a literal great heart. Today is about a figurative great heart. So let's go over our key points. What are we going to do? We're going to identify a figurative great heart. For example, Clara Barton. Remember, Clara Barton did a lot of things. She helped the wounded soldiers. She was a nurse. She risked her life to help the wounded soldiers. And she also, remember, boys and girls, when the soldiers were out of war and the war was over, she even helped those soldiers find their families. Because remember, sometimes when there's war, people get lost, so she helped those families find the soldiers. Helen Keller, remember, Helen Keller was blind and deaf. However, she was courageous when she didn't give up, and she learned so many languages, and she even wrote books to educate others on what it's like to be blind and deaf. So Clara Barton, we can say that she's courageous. She is definitely brave. She is kind to others. Helen Keller is brave for not giving up. So she is those two. And then what about Jack? So I know Jack at the beginning, he wasn't very good with poetry. But later on, he even shared it with the whole class, right? And he put his name. So how can we describe Jack as having a great heart figuratively? Remember, figuratively is a figure of speech. How can we say that? So Jack was courageous, right? Or brave, because he finally shared his poem with the whole class. Remember at the beginning, he did not want to write one line of a poem. And then he wrote a poem, but he didn't want to share with anybody that it was him. He wrote anonymous. But then later on throughout the book, he changed to being courageous and brave to sharing his name. Okay, so today we're going to add paragraphs 3 and 4 to our essay. Remember, we're talking about a figurative great heart. Clara Barton, Helen Keller, Jack. You could also write about Miss Stretchberry, how she was very kind to Jack, right? We could infer she was kind because every time Jack questioned her, why do I have to tell you more? Why do I have to write a poem? I tried, I couldn't. We could infer she was being kind to him, right? And we need to ask ourselves, what makes a person have a figurative great heart? Remember, figurative great heart is a figure of speech. It's not the heart inside of your chest. The heart inside of your chest is called what? A literal great heart. Yes, remember yesterday we said a literal great heart was healthy. It was a muscle. It was not filled up with gunk, which the author told us that was plaque. So how are we going to do that, boys and girls? We're going to explain to the reader what a figurative great heart is in paragraph 3. And then we're going to add textual evidence from the biographies or Love That Dog. So depending on who you're going to write about, those are the biographies you're going to use or the text. And we're going to close our essay in paragraph number 4. Why, boys and girls? It is important to add textual evidence to your writing to ensure the readers understands what your point is. So you are writing an informational essay, informative. It means you're giving the reader details. If you just say, did you know that there's a great heart? Let me tell you about Clara Barton. Well, you're not really explaining to them if it's a literal or a figurative great heart. And then the reader is going to be confused. Of course, do you think you're going to get a 4? You're probably not going to get a 4, right? The lowest score you can get is a 0, and the highest score you can get is a 4. We all want a 4. So if you don't give any textual evidence and you just say a literal great heart is a muscle and it is healthy and it eats healthy food, well, boys and girls, more than likely you're going to get a 1 or a 2, right? Because you're not giving examples. You have to hook the reader. Give them examples. Pretend it's someone who's never read the book. How would you explain it to them that there's 2 types of great heart? Literal and figurative. So I'm going to show you this quick video. I know we saw it a couple of lessons ago, but I just want to remind you what figurative language is.
Idioms. at Grammar Songs by Melissa. What is an idiom? More importantly, how can understanding idioms make me a better reader, speaker, listener, or writer? Let's get started. An idiom is an expression that cannot be understood from the meaning of its separate words, but must be learned as a whole expression. What? Huh? Okay, I know that sounds confusing, so let me explain. Idioms are a form of figurative language, which means the words cannot be taken literally or exactly. Literally? Exactly? Let me show you an example. You may have heard someone use the idiom, "It's raining cats and dogs." In a literal or exact sense, this expression would look something like this: "It's raining cats and dogs." But the meaning of an idiom is figurative. The words and meaning don't exactly go together. "It's raining cats and dogs" really means it's raining very hard. People use idioms every day when speaking English without even realizing they are doing so. "These groceries cost an arm and a leg." This can be really tricky for people learning to speak English. An arm and a leg? Maybe I should shop somewhere else. Authors use idioms to communicate a special and precise message to the reader. Famous authors like William Shakespeare used and even created many idioms that we still use today. In fact, it is estimated that there are at least 25,000 idioms used in the English language today. Oh no! Yikes! How will we ever learn them all? Relax. I don't think any one person actually knows all of them. The important thing is to understand that the words used in an idiom are not literal. They mean something else. Practice your understanding of idioms in real life when you read, "You are the apple of my eye." Watch TV, "I'm glad you didn't get cold feet." And especially when you listen and speak to others at home and other places, "This game is coming down to the wire." May we practice now? Sure. Can you make it rain cats and dogs again? That was fun. Not this time, but I've got some other ideas. Let's explore the meanings of some of the more common idioms you may encounter on a daily basis. This cupcake is out of this world. So a literal interpretation of these words would cause you to believe that a cupcake is floating around in outer space. Hey, come back here! But of course, idioms are a form of figurative language. "This cupcake is out of this world" really means, "This cupcake is delicious! Yum!" That was silly! Let's practice again. Okay, let's practice again. I am going to toss my cookies. A literal understanding of these words would make you believe that someone is going to throw cookies up in the air. Woohoo! What's going on in here? I just baked those! But idioms aren't literal, they are figurative. "I am going to toss my cookies" really means I am going to be sick, or I'm going to throw up. We hope he feels better. Thanks, so do I. Next we have, "You're driving me up the wall." A literal interpretation would look something like this. Help! Let me out! But an idiom isn't literal, it is figurative. "You're driving me up the wall" really means you are irritating me. So remember, idioms are a form of figurative language. The words in the expression have a different meaning when put together. The best way to learn idioms is to practice them in real life when you read and listen, and to use them when you speak and write. That was a piece of cake! Aho now! I'm glad it was easy for you. You are doing a great job using idioms. Thank you for joining me at Grammar Songs by Melissa.
Okay, boys and girls, so we saw a figurative language video, right? We know that they have a different meaning, and they are called common idioms. Now, how about if I say, let me touch your kindness. Can I touch someone's kindness? I cannot touch their kindness, right? Can I touch how they're being courageous? Can I literally touch how they're being courageous? No, I can see it. I can probably hear it. but I cannot touch it. Now, boys and girls, how about if I say, let me touch your beating heart? Can we literally touch our beating heart? Yes. So that's how I want you to remember literal and figurative. Literal is something you can touch. For example, my heart is beating. I can literally feel my heart beating inside of my chest, right? Can I literally see if a heart is healthy? Yes, right? Actually, my doctor could, right? If I go to a cardiologist, if I need to, he can see that my heart is healthy, right? That it's not built up with plaque. And I can see that it's beating and I can see that it's a healthy heart. Why? Because I don't get tired going up and down the stairs or walking around my room. Now, figurative, remember, we cannot touch it. I cannot say, hey, boys and girls, let me touch your kindness. Let me touch your kind heart. Can I do that? No, right? I can't touch kindness. Can I touch if a person is being courageous? If I say, boys and girls, let me touch your courageous heart. Can I do that? No. How about if I say, boys and girls, let me touch your brave heart? Can I touch a brave heart? No, right? So now we see the difference between literal and figurative. Remember, a literal great heart is beating inside of your chest. It's one that has clean arteries because it's not gunked up, because a person doesn't eat fast food. It's a muscle. Remember, the more that you work your muscle, the more that it is better for your overall health. Now, figurative. An example would be Clara Barton. Remember, she was brave, she was courageous, she helped all the soldiers. Anne Frank, she tried so hard, boys and girls. Remember, during the war, she had to hide, so she was courageous for hiding. How about Helen Keller? She was blind and deaf, but she was still what? She was still courageous. She was brave. She wanted to tell the whole world that just because someone is blind or deaf doesn't mean that they're different, right? Of course, they have to do things differently, but it doesn't mean that they can't do certain things, right? So she was trying to educate the world. Okay, now we're going to watch the second video, and on this second video, we're going to talk about continuing our informative essay. I just want you slanting towards the screen. You should not have any pens or pencils in front of you. So let's get started. So yes, boys and girls, that is how you write an informative essay. Remember, I want you to think about, let's say that you're writing this for a teacher who has never heard about a literal or great heart, or maybe your uncle, your cousin, your aunt, your grandma. She might not know that there's two meanings to a figurative great heart, right? Or that there's two meanings at all for a great heart. They just think that a great heart is someone who is very nice, right? They don't know that actually there's another meaning for literal inside of your chest. So this is where we left off yesterday. Just remember, have your T-chart in front of you. This is going to be your best friend. So you're going to need your composition book, because we're going to add to our T-chart, and we're going to add to what is the meaning of a great heart. What are some examples of a figurative great heart? And some sentence starters that I'm giving you. Yes, you can copy this sentence starter. It would be a figurative great heart is like blank. So do you want to use Clara Barton, Anne Frank, Helen Keller, Miss Stretchberry, or Jack? And then how do you know that they were kind, courageous, generous? How do you know that? You got to tell the reader, remember, you're explaining to them why they have a figurative great heart. And then we're going to work on paragraph number 4, which is going to talk about, now you know the difference between a literal and a figurative great heart. What else do you want to tell the reader? Paragraph 4 is going to close it for them. Okay, and before you go, I wanted to show you your end of module test. Remember, your test is this Friday. I am setting you up for success. I am helping you write the T-charts. I am helping you write your essay. I am taking suggestions. We can share. We can also do where you can also share with other students. You can say, hey, so-and-so, do you want to read my essay? And you send them a picture of your essay. As long as you don't have the same essay, I'm okay with that. Unfortunately, because we're in distance learning, we have to do things differently. But if you were in class, I would have you pair up with somebody. They would read your essay. They would give you feedback, and then you would incorporate the feedback that you got from that person into your essay. Maybe you're repeating yourself. Maybe you forgot to add what is a literal heart. Maybe you forgot to explain what a figurative green heart. Maybe you forgot to give an example. So today, boys and girls, we're going to use our time wisely. We're going to make sure that we're answering this question. So this, where it says your task, that is the only thing I want you to see during your end of module test. When you see this big paper that says assessment 32A, I only want you to look at your task. That means, what are you going to write about? So for others who have studied the topics as you have, you're going to write a 4-paragraph informative essay. Remember, informative means that you're giving information to the reader. And you're going to tell them what it means to have a great heart, literally and figuratively. So our goal is to finish by Thursday our essay. That way on Friday when you have your test, all you have to do is type in your essay and, of course, take the rest of your test. But that is it. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my T-chart and I will see everybody in class. I know this was a very short video, but it's okay because I want to have time to write our essays. I'll see you in class, boys and girls.